Hello and welcome to my guide, my walkthrough for the 2022 Key Stage 2 Maths Sats, the paper 2, the reasoning paper. I've already had a lot of people ask me for this, so I've done it as quickly as I can, and paper 3 will be coming out very soon as well. If you have just done your Sats, this is a really good way to gauge how you did. Until you get your results, you don't actually know, but if you watch this video, think about what you put for the answers. If you've got a rough idea, then you can probably take a good guess at how well you've done. If, however, you're coming at this at a later stage, don't worry, this is a really useful video for you as well. I will include the link to this paper in the description. So just download that and give yourself 40 minutes to work your way through it. That's the maximum you can give yourself. Do it as best as you can, and then come back and watch this video and see if you got the marks. I will run through every single question and how to get the answers, so don't worry if you get some wrong. This is why you're watching this video, to help you improve for next time. Just before I start, please consider subscribing to the channel. I do a lot of these videos, they're completely free, I put a lot of work into it, so if you do like it, it goes such a long way to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Right, let's crack on. Number 1, circle the greatest number. This is a fairly straightforward question. We just need to look at our place value. So the first thing we need to think about is the first number. That's the largest. And in this case, they're millions. And they're all 9 millions. So we can't separate them there. We then move on to the next column, which is hundreds of thousands. And in this case, they're all twos. So again, that's not really helpful to us. So if we move to the tens, we need to be looking for a slightly bigger number. And you can see here, we've got 0, 0, and 0, so we have ones and ones here, so these two must be slightly bigger, and they are. So we can rule out these three. Not interested in these. Now what we need to do is compare these two and see which one's bigger. So we've got exactly the same digits here, but the only difference is this point here. This is 298. This is 300, so this one is slightly bigger. 9,215,300. Whereas this one is 9,215,298. So this is the correct answer. Number 2, one table can seat 8 people. How many tables are needed to seat 40 people? So all we need to do is think, well, if we need 40 people to attend this event, and each table sits 8, how many 8s go into 40? And you should know that, that's from your times tables, that you would need 5 tables. 5 times 8 equals 40. Number 3, write the missing number to make this addition correct. And if you look at this, this is actually partitioning. We have 400,000 here, plus something, plus 70 equals this number here, 430,070. The reason I say it's partitioning is if you actually look, we have 400,000 here. That's that number there. We have 70. There it is. The only thing we've got missing is the tens of thousands. And in this case, we've got 3 of them. So that's 3 lots of 10,000, which is 30,000. Number 4, children estimated the number of beans in a jar. These were the estimates of 5 children. The exact number of beans was 1,380. So whose estimate was closest to the exact number? So all we need to do is look at everybody's guesses and say, well, which one is the closest? If we need to find the difference, what's the difference? The one that's the smallest will be the one that's correct. So having a look at what we've got then. Let's start from the top. We've got Amir who guessed 1,310. So how far away was Amir from the actual answer? Well, it'd be 1,380, subtract 1,310. So Amir was 70 off. Still very close. Olivia was 1,220. That was her guess. So she was 160 off. So she's a little bit further off. Emma was 1,400, which the difference between those two is only 20. So that's the closest so far. John, 1,290. The difference between those two numbers is 90. So he was 90 off. And Chen guessed 1,460. And the difference there is 80. So the closest person was Emma. She was only 20 off. So it asked for a name. Whose estimate was the closest? It's Emma's. Some people get caught out there because they start to put numbers. It asks for a name by the question whose. So the answer is Emma. There's a second part to that question. So whose estimate was furthest from the exact number? Well, that's easy because we've done the working out. Olivia was the furthest away. She was 160 off. So that's the answer for there. Number 5, 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms. A truck can carry a load of 2.3 tons. So how many kilograms can the truck carry? This is very straightforward. This is just multiplying by 1,000. So we know that 1 ton equals 1,000 kilograms. So 2 tons must be 2,000 kilograms. And 0.3 is 300 kilograms. So in total, the truck can hold 2,300 kilograms. Number 6, Emma has a 5-litre bag of compost. She uses 2.75 litres. How much does she have left? Now, you might be able to work this out in your head. 5 subtract 2.75 is 2.25. If you can't, you can always do some working out down here. That's not a problem. But what we're going to try and do is use our quickest methods, and if you can do it in your head at the beginning, that's going to save you time at the end for some of the harder questions. So 5 subtract 2.75, she's left with 2.25. Always remember, if you want to check, you can do the inverse. So 2.25 plus 2.75 equals 5. So you know the answer is right. Number 7, in a race, Ali completes a swim, a run, and a bicycle ride. It might be a triathlon by the sounds of things. The swim is 1/10 of the total distance. The run is 3/10 of the total distance. So what fraction of the total distance is the bike ride? So if you think about it this way, the race is 1 hole. So you should know how many tenths are in 1 hole. 10. 10 tenths equals 1 hole. So the swim is one of these. So if you subtract the swim, 1/10. You could do this a lot quicker in your head, but just to show you my thinking, the swim, we've got rid of that now. So we've still got 9/10 to play with. The run is 3/10. So if we subtract 3/10 from that, 9/10 subtract 3/10 is 6/10. That's all we've got left. There's no other events. So what fraction is the bicycle ride? It's 6/10. Number 8, circle the improper fraction that is equivalent to 2 3/8. The easiest way to do this is to convert this into an improper fraction. So how do we do that? How many eighths are there in 1 whole, for example? Well, we know that there are 8 eighths in 1 whole. So how many eighths are there in 2 wholes? Well, it's 2 lots of 8. So there's 16 eighths. That equals 2. We know that's true. They're exactly the same. We have 3 more eighths as well. So we also need to add that on. 3/8 plus 16/8 equals 19/8. Do we have that one? Yes, we do. There's your answer. Number 9. This pictogram shows how many DVDs a shop sells in 1 week. So if you just looked at this without this clue, which we'll cover, it might not make a lot of sense. We don't know exactly how much these CDs are worth in this chart. So on Monday, there were 24 DVDs sold. So what we need to do is work out what 1 DVD equals. So in order to do that, we need to think, right, what will these 3 DVDs add up to? Well, it will add up to 24. So if we divide them by 3, we'll know exactly how much each DVD is worth. So what's 24 divided by 3? You should know that. You should know your 3 times table. The answer is 8. So each DVD is worth 8. So the question is asking us how many DVDs were sold on Friday. So what we need to do is add up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. We'll come to the half in a second, but we've got 6 full DVDs. We know that each DVD is worth 8. So 6 times 8 is 48. Very important to know your times tables for this. And we have half a DVD. Well, how do we work out what half a DVD is? We just half the value of a DVD. And we know that a DVD is 8. So half a DVD must be 4, which is half of 8. So plus that 4, we're left with 52. Put the answer in the box. That's your answer. Moving on to number 10. A shop has an offer. Buy 1 box for £1.90. Get the second box half price. So Ali buys 2 boxes of cereal. How much must he pay altogether? So if we read this offer, we know that you still have to buy one box at full price, which is £1.90. So if you want to get the second box half price, you need to make sure you buy the first one. So in that respect, we have £1.90 plus whatever half of £1.90 is, because that's the half price. How do we work that out? A quick way would be to say, well, it's nearly £2, isn't it? £1.90. So if I half that, that's £1. However, we're 10p short. So instead, we're going to need to half that as well and subtract it. So it's 95p. £1.90 divided by 2 is 95p. So plus 95p. I'm just going to do that so I remember. When we're adding pounds and pence, make sure you set up your working out properly. So technically, this is 0.95 of a pound, isn't it? So we could put 0.95. Then we add them together. 0 add 5 is 5. 9 add 9 is 18. Put the 8, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 0 is 2. Put the decimal point in. So in total, to buy 2 boxes of cereal, it's £2.85. Bargain. Number 11. It looks like we're doing equivalent fractions here, but let's have a look. 3/10 is the same as something 20ths. So we can see a pattern here. The denominator is twice as big. So if we want an equivalent fraction, which is what it's asking for, we need to make sure that our numerator is twice as big as well. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6/20ths is exactly the same as 3/10. And the same is also true here, but we're going a different direction. We're dividing rather than multiplying. So we can see that we've got 12/15 on the left, and we've got 4 something on the right. So how do we get from 12 to 4? We divide it by 3. So in order to get an equivalent fraction, we need to do the same to the bottom as well, the denominator. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So 4/5 is the same as 12/15. Those are your answers. Number 12. William has 4 parcels. Write the masses in order, starting with the heaviest. So all we need to do is make sure we're singing off the same hymn sheet, in that we've got everything in the same, either grams or kilograms, because it's trying to catch you out. Some are in kilograms, some are in grams. So the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is to turn everything into grams. So 1.4 kilograms, you should know, is 1,400 grams. That's already in grams, that's easy. 2 kilograms is 2,000 grams. And 300 grams, again, is also in grams already. So how do we order them in terms of mass? It says start with the heaviest. So quite clearly, this is the biggest number, isn't it? 2,000. So if we put that first, we know that's going to be right. However, although we've done some conversions, it's asking us to put these 4 parcels. And just to double check, you want to make sure you're using exactly the labels that they've put on. So although you know this is the biggest, you need to put 2 kilograms. I'm sure they'd be generous and give you the mark anyway, but just make sure. Next one then is 1,500. Again, using the labels on the box. Then it's this one, isn't it? 1,400. And finally, 300 grams. So there you go, that's your answer. Number 13, look at the graph below that shows Dev's bike ride. So looking at the graph then, we have time along the bottom, along the x-axis, and on the y-axis, we've got distance. In 10 minutes, Dev travels 3 kilometers. So looking at the information we've got, it says to match each part of Dev's journey to the correct sentence. So looking at A to B, he goes from 0 to 10 minutes, and he goes from 0 kilometers to 3 kilometers. So let's see which one works. Dev cycles 3 kilometers in 10 minutes. That's true. Put that there. So what happens from B to C? It takes him 10 minutes to go absolutely nowhere. So unless he is traveling incredibly slowly that they can't measure it, it's probably likely that he's just having a rest. So Dev rests for 10 minutes. That's perfect. At minute 20 to minute 30, C to D, in 10 minutes, he's gone from 3 kilometers to 4 kilometers. So he's gone 1 kilometer. He's slowing down a little bit. There you go. Dev cycles 1 kilometer in 10 minutes. And finally, well, it must mean this one, but let's double check. From minute 30 to 40, Dev goes from kilometer 4 to well, about halfway. So he doesn't actually cover a full kilometre. So in this case, it says Dev cycles less than 1 kilometre in 10 minutes. That's true. So we can be pretty confident the rest of ours are also true. Number 14, this 850 milliliter bottle of squash makes 17 drinks. How many milliliters of squash are in each drink? So if this whole bottle makes 17 drinks, we need to divide it by 17 so we know exactly what's in each cup. So how do we do that? The best way of doing that is by doing some short or long division. As you've seen on many of my other videos before, I like to do it this way. I like short division. So I've just put some multiples of 17 along here just in case I need them. In this case, however, we don't actually need to do short division. You might have already spotted it because I've done multiples of 17 along the side just in case I need them. But actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 17s make 85. And the number we're dividing is 850, which is 10 times bigger than that. So what we can do instead is go, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 17s make 85. So that must mean we need 10 times as many to make 850. So it would be 50, because 50 is 10 times bigger than 5, 50 milliliters per drink. If you can do things like that in your head, that is brilliant. But I think this is useful to show you how we work through the process. Make sure you write things down. And if you spot patterns that save you time, take them. Don't waste time doing lots of working out if you can get the answer quickly. Number 15, write the correct sign, equals, greater than, or less than in each box. So what we need to do is work out each side and then decide which one's bigger, smaller, or if they're equal, which one are equal. So 1 times 2 is 2. Multiply that by 3 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So they're exactly the same. 6 on both sides. It's the equals sign. 2 times 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So this one's bigger. So we put our sign like that, the large side facing the larger number. 1 times 10 times 10, well, 10 times 1 is still 10. Times by 10 is 100. I don't even need to work that out. This one's going to be bigger, isn't it? Because 10 plus 10 plus 1 is going to be less than 100. So this one is bigger, same as before. Now, this one will catch a lot of people out. Why? Because there's a 0 in there. And so many times people look at 0 multiplied by something and think it's this. No, it's not. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So even if we only had 1 on this side, it's still going to be bigger, but we've got 2 lots of 10, so it's 20. So this one is definitely going to be bigger than 0. There's your answers. Number 16, take the numbers that round to 28.7. So looking at the options that we've got, we know that if we have a 5 or above, we give it a shove onto the next number. So 65 is closer to 70 or 0.7 than it is 0.6. So that one definitely rounds up to 28.7. This one is just a 1 on the end, so it's very close to just 70, which is the same as 7. So that one is. This one is similar to the one above with the 5, but because it's 5 or above, we would give it a shove to the next number, which would be 80. So that wouldn't be right. And the rest are too big as well. So you can see that would round up to 29, and that would round down to 28. These are the two that you need. Number 17, 6 divides into 40 with a remainder of 4. Write one other number that divides into 40 with a remainder of 4. So working that out, how many 6s go into 40? It's 6. 6 times 6 is 36. What's left? 4. We've got our remainder of 4. So what it's asking for is find another number, just one, that divides into 40 with a remainder of 4. This is where we need to be good at our times tables. We need to get to 36 and have 4 left. So which times tables is 36 in? It's in the 9 times table. 9, 18, 27, 36. That's 4 of those. And we've got 4 left over. It's also in the 12 times table. 12, 24, 36. There we go. So you can pick any of those. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to go for 9. As long as you only pick one, there's 4 left over, isn't there? 9, 18, 27, 36 with 4 left. So that's your answer. As long as there's a remainder of 4 and you've put one number, your answer will be right. Number 18. This sign shows the number of empty spaces on each level of a car park at 10 a.m. In the car park, each level has 800 spaces. That's important because these are empty spaces, so we need to know how many cars are actually using them, because the question says, what is the total number of cars parked in the car park at 10 a.m? So, first things first, we need to work out how many cars there are on level 2. There's 800 spaces, 511 of those are empty. So 800 subtract 511 is 289. If you need to do column subtraction to work that out, that's fine, but if you can do it in your head, brilliant. Now, we need to do the same for level 1. Level 1 has 800 spaces in total. 268 of them are empty. So get rid of those ones. How many have we got that aren't empty? So it would be 532. Again, if you need to do some working out, that's fine. But the reason I'm doing it in my head is to save time. So it now says, what's the total number of cars parked? We can't just say that's fine. We've got to add up level 1 and level 2. So this is where I will do some working out to make sure everything is right. So we've got 532 plus 289. 9 plus 2 is 11. Put the 1, carry the 1. 3 plus 8 is also 11, plus the 1 we've carried over is 12. Put the 2, carry the 1. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus the 1 is 821. So that's your answer. How many cars are parked? 821. Number 19, the circumference of this circle is 60 centimetres. What is the distance around the edge of the circle from A to B? Now, it may look like they've not given us a lot of information here. However, the circumference is this entire line. So if you were to walk around this circle, that's the circumference. We can see that they've put a right angle mark in here. So we know that this is a quarter of the circle. So if we've got just 1/4 of the whole circumference, then we can divide it by 4, and that will give us our answer. What's 60 divided by 4? It's 15. If you're not sure how to do that, half it and half it again. So half of 60 is 30, half it again is 15. That's your answer. Number 20, there are 432 places at a dance school. There are 2 age groups. This table shows the number of classes and the number of pupils in each class for each age group at the moment. So we don't need to read this information just yet. Let's find out what we're being asked. How many more pupils can join the dance school? Right, so how many more? What we then need to know is, how many can it take? There we go, 432. And how many has it already got? Then we can look at the difference. So there are 15 classes here in age 7 to 12, and there are 16 pupils in each class. So to find out how many 7 to 12-year-olds there are, we need to do 16 multiplied by 15. This is a fairly simple calculation, but if you do need to do some working out, you can. There's loads of different methods you can use, but I'm looking for tricks. So instead of this, I'm going to do 16 times 10, and then I'm going to do 16 times 5 and add them together. So 16 times 10 is 160, plus 5 times 16, which is going to be half of this. So half of 160 is 80. So 16 times 15 is 240. That's how many we've got in this age group. We need to do the same now for this age group. So there are 10 classes and there are 18 pupils in each class. So this is quite an easy one. 10 times 18, that's how many children there are in total. That's 180. So how many pupils have we got in total? 240 plus 180, that would be 420. There are 432 places. We've got 420 children. What's the difference? Well, 432 subtract 420 is 12. So that's your answer. There are 12 spaces left. That's how many more pupils can join. Okay, we're getting into the last few questions. 21. Each shape stands for a number. The total of the shapes on the diagonal line is 48. So something plus something plus something equals 48. The total of all the shapes is 200. Calculate the value of each shape. Right, so the total of the numbers here, the shapes here, should I say, is 48. So they're exactly the same shapes. So in order to work out what one of these triangles are, we need to divide 48 by 3, and that'll give us the answer. So what is 48 divided by 3? I'm going to do a quick sum in my head. 3 times 10 is 30, 3 times 6 is 18, add those together, so it's 16. Just double check that. 16 times 3 is 48. I've not had to do any working out, so that's how many each triangle is worth. That's how much a triangle is worth, 16. So it now says the total of all the shapes is 200. So we know the triangle is 16. So how are we going to work out the circles? Well, 200 is the total for all of these shapes added together. So if we just subtract all the triangles, we can work out what the circles are worth. So we know that each triangle is 16. So I'm going to write that on there so I don't forget. So 200 subtract 5 lots of 16. We actually did that sum earlier, I remember that. 16 multiplied by 5 is 80. So if we subtract all the triangles, 200 is the total, take away all of these triangles, that's 80. We know that the circles must be worth 200 subtract 80, 120. However, that's 4 circles. 120 equals 4 circles, just so I don't forget. So what's one circle worth? Well, we need to divide 120 by 4. So like I've mentioned before, if you don't want to do any working out, half it again. So 120 divided by 2, halved is 60. Half that again is 30. So each circle is 30. If you want to double check that, you can go back and add them all up. I'm pretty confident, but if we go back and do it anyway, 30, 60, 90, 120, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 16s, which is 80, 120 plus 80 is 200. That's what they said it's worth. So those answers are correct. Number 22, you can make green paint, don't try this at home, by mixing 250 millilitres of blue paint and 1,150 millilitres of yellow paint. Stefan wants to make some of this green paint, but he doesn't follow the instructions, does he? He uses 750 millilitres of blue paint. So how much green paint does he make when he adds his yellow paint? Well, we can spot a pattern there, can't we? 250 millilitres of blue paint plus this amount of yellow paint will get you green, but he's used 3 times as much. So he's going to need 3 times as much yellow paint, otherwise it's not going to come out green. So we've got 750 millilitres of blue. We need 3 times as much yellow paint. So what's 1,150 multiplied by 3? If you want to do some working out, please do, but 3 times 1,000 is 3,000. 3 times 150 is 450. So add them together. That's 3,450 millilitres. So that's the yellow paint required. Just put yellow so I don't forget. Now, that's not the answer though, is it? It's asking how much green paint does he make? And we need to add our blue and our yellow, mix it all together, and that will make green. So if we add 3,450 to 750, what do we get? Quick working out, if we add 600, we have 4,050. We've got 150 left. So he makes 4,200 millilitres of green paint. Number 23, Adam has a bag of fruit that weighs 1.25 kilograms. He takes out a banana. Now the bag of fruit weighs 1.1. Next, he takes out an orange. Now the bag weighs 920 grams. So this is quite a complicated question. It's asking us how much more does the orange weigh than the banana. So there's a couple of steps we need to do. The first thing we need to do is work out how much a banana weighs. And the easiest way to do that is read what it says. It says 1.1 kilograms. That's how much the bag weighed when he took out the banana. There's 1.25 with the banana, so we need to work out the difference. What's 1.25 subtract 1.1? Well, it's 0.15 kilograms. So what's that in grams? 150 grams. That's a banana. I'm just going to put B so I don't forget. Next, he takes out an orange, and the bag now weighs 920. So we need to do the same again. What's the difference between 1.1 kilograms and 920? So what's 1.1 kilograms in grams? It's 1,100 grams. Subtract 920 grams. So what's the difference between these two? 80 would make 1,000, and then we've got 100 more. So it would be 180 grams. Now, that's not the answer. It says how much more does the orange weigh than the banana? The orange, let's put equals O so we remember, is 180 grams, and a banana is 150. So how much more does the orange weigh? Well, what's the difference? It's 30 grams. It's 30 grams heavier, and that's your answer. One quick check. If the answer says how much more does the orange weigh, and your orange weighs less than a banana, then you know it's wrong, so you have to go back and do it again. So that is our answer. 30 grams is the difference between an orange and a banana. Number 24. Here is an isosceles triangle inside a rectangle. Calculate the sizes of angles X and Y. So this is all to do with geometry and all to do with angles. So if you understand these little tricks, this can be quite a straightforward question. If not, it can be quite challenging. So if this was a question that you struggled on, it's worth spending some time going through this with me or with your teacher so that you're going to be better prepared next time. The first thing we need to do is work out the missing angles. These ones are really easy. You can see they're right angles. How do I know that? It says it's inside a rectangle, and a rectangle has to have right angles. So although they're not shown and it's not to scale, we know that a rectangle has right angles. Also, these ones down here will also be rectangles, but we need to do a bit of working out before we can do that. So looking at this angle here, we know that this angle is 180 degrees. So because it's isosceles, each of these will be the same. 180 subtract 30 is 150. So what's half of 150? It's 75. So that's the angle here. And you can see that makes sense because 90 degrees is a right angle. This is less than a right angle, but it's not that far off a right angle. So that's a good suggestion. Now, how do we work out this angle here? We can then start to work out X. This is 90 degrees. A right angle is 90 plus 75. That's 165. We know that there are 180 degrees in a triangle. So if this is 165, what's the last one going to be? Well, it's 180. Subtract 165. That is 15 degrees. So we know that this one is 15. Again, that doesn't really help us at the moment, but it will help us work out X because in total, this is 90 degrees, this right angle. So if we've got this chunk of it, we can work out X. 90 subtract 15 is 75. So that is the value of X, 75 degrees. Put that in the box. Now, how are we going to work out Y? It's a very similar proposition. We know that 75 is this corner here, 30 is this corner. So that must mean in total, they're 105. All triangles have 180 degrees. So 180 subtract 105. So this angle is 75. We also could have just looked at the fact that it's an isosceles triangle. So because this angle is 75, this one will also be 75 because an isosceles triangle has two equal sides and two equal angles. Therefore, Y must be the other side, the other direction, which we've already worked out, is 15. So Y is 15 degrees. Okay, the last question, number 25. The triangle is to be transformed on the grid as follows. First, translate the shape 7 units down, then reflect the resulting triangle in the y-axis. Draw the new triangle on the grid after each transformation. Right, I love these questions. Not on a computer, though, that I'm doing it on today because it's really difficult to draw, but I will do my best. Now, if you're doing this, make sure you do it neatly and you use a ruler. I haven't got that option on here, so I'm going to just do my best. So it says, translate the shape 7 units down first. So everything's going to move 7 down. So let's draw the points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put my point there. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's there. And finally this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pop that there. So, like I mentioned, you'd use a ruler, but I've not got one. So that looks dreadful, but you see what I mean. So it now says, reflect the resulting triangle in the y-axis. So all we need to do is kind of do the same thing really with our points. Looking at this y-axis, that's this line here. We're 1 away with this point. We also need to be 1 away here. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from this point on this line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got to do the same. And this point here is 1 away. So 1, there it is, just there. So again, using a ruler, in an ideal world, you draw that so you get a lovely triangle looking like that. And as long as you've done the steps, all these corners, you've used a pencil and gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down. And once you've drawn that, you've then reflected it in the y-axis, which is this line. And the way I use it, just like before, if I'm 1 away, I make sure I'm 1 away at the other side. And if I'm 5 away, 6 away, I will do exactly the same, but at the other side. I hope you found that useful. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments how you get on. If you did really well on this paper and you got all of them right, fantastic. That's brilliant. So that means more than likely you're going to do really well when the SATs come around. If you struggled on that, that's absolutely fine as well. Well done for watching this video, because now you know where your weaknesses are, places that you can improve for next time. And I have loads of videos on my channel for every possible topic. So if you would like to know more about fractions or whatever it is that you've struggled with, just look up my YouTube channel and you'll find something there that will help. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.